Welcome to another video for WinBid Pro version 16 by GDS Estimating. In this one I want to talk about the alerts feature we have in version 16. And what this does is help you fix things that you may not know are a problem. So whenever you see something down here, it could either be yellow or red. Red means stop, right? So you need to actually address this issue. And for example, if I have red alerts and I go to print a report, like let's say it's anything, final parts, it's going to pop up a message that says you've got some errors and you might be missing some data, some material. So it'll let you continue on, but it wants you to know that there's an issue that needs to be resolved. So there's actually a question mark little icon here that will take you right to our documentation page. And this is something that the documentation page is something we're adding to all the time, but it specifically has some good documentation on alerts, what they're about, how you can address them, and even how you can hide them if you need to. It won't let you hide a red alert, but it will let you hide a warning. So as I mentioned, we can continue on. It still shows us the report, but we'll know since it prompted us that there's probably something missing. So let's look at how we get to the alerts list. So I can click on this little icon down here. If there were no alerts in your job, you're not going to see anything down here. You're not going to see anything red or yellow. But when there is a red or yellow message here, you want to look at it. So errors are red. That's the ones where it's going to be missing material. In this elevation here, we've got a 300-inch tall curtain wall, and we know that our stock lengths are 288. Now we don't automatically splice because we want you to be aware that there's, either you intentionally need to tell it to automatically splice, which I can do right here in the Splices tab. I can hit Auto Apply Vertical Splices, or you need to specify splice points, which is easy to do just by hitting Add and all that. So if I want to take care of those messages, so without the splices and with that error, it's not going to include any of the vertical material because it needs to be spliced. It won't be able to, as we know here from our message, for these part numbers, it won't be able to splice, or it won't be able to optimize it because it's trying to figure a 300-inch cut length out of a 288-inch part. So it's just not possible. So that's where we need to go and fix it by saying automatically splice or add splices at different points. So I can automatically splice, and you'll see right away that took care of 5 of the alerts. So there is a splice video, and you can configure splices with the gaps, the part numbers, the offsets, all that stuff. So watch our splices video for more information on that. But you'll see here in the drawing that we do have the splices. And even in the layer settings, you can go in and change the color of the different members, like the pressure plate, face cover, back member, so that these little colors indicate which member or splice we're looking at. So all that's under layer settings, and there's videos for that too. But so now let's take a look at the warnings. So there's a couple different warnings. Warnings just means it's not that critical, but it's probably something you need to address. So in the case of transom, so the door in the peak top elevation has a transom glass bite of 0. So the program sees that, and it's automatically going to use the default glass bite for the framing system, which in a lot of cases is correct. But if the transom glass bite hasn't been configured, then let's go to this elevation and look at that. We can go to entrances, we can edit the door frame, and we'll see right here, here's where the transom glass bite would go. But maybe you'll notice, oh, well, there's supposed to be transom stops too, and right now there aren't any transom stops. So if there were, we could click in here and say add new, you specify a stop profile which affects your DLO. You can go in here and enter your glass bite. If for some reason it's different at the head, than it is in the other places. You can tell it basically what you need to tell it. So when I enter these values and I hit save, now we're going to see it says it's going to affect 2 elevations. It took care of that warning, right? So I can go back to job alerts, and now I've got a different warning that talks about the flat filler for these entrances. So pair with transom, in this entrance we've got a pair of door, or a door frame pair frame that is just a punched opening. So this is against a wall, so this would either need a flat filler or not, but it looks like the door frame is configured with a flat filler. So let's go into here. We're going to edit the door frame. We're going to go to components. We're going to scroll down, and we see that for along bulkheads, use flat filler. Now that's for bulkheads, but actually it's going to default by thinking that it needs flat filler just because it's up against a wall. And if we want to fix that, we're going to say needs door jamb filler, and we're going to give it no profile, and we can assign a part number to it just so that, and if it doesn't need a filler, like if there's no part number, if you don't want it, you can always just leave that out. But let's say flush filler, I'll just call it that. And so you put whatever parts needed for that filler material, you put that in, and I hit save, and now that alert's gone. So that's a case where a warning may be leaving out a part that you don't need, but a filler part's kind of a hidden thing that may or may not be used, so it's not as critical as like a vertical member in the middle of the elevation, right? So it's something that needs your attention, but it's not as critical as a red alert. So that's kind of where we're at with alerts. It's something that's going to help you if the drawing is doing something that it can't do, or that the program just can't do it in the drawing, or if something's wrong with some parts or some frame configuration, that's where job alerts helps you. So this one's another flat filler situation, so it's the same way to fix it as I did with the pair. But that's it. The way I like it with no alerts, because then I know everything's kind of taken care of. But remember, with red alerts, you've really got a problem, and it's going to warn you when you try and print a report. But with these, I can actually, with a warning that's like, oh, I know about that, I'm not worried about it, it's not worth my time to fix it, because it doesn't matter, then I can right-click on it and I can say silence this warning. So any warning with that code, so that other one that I just fixed, it would actually silence those. So now you'll notice down here it says no job alerts. So that's another option. You can kind of silence the alert, and for this job, for that problem, you've looked at it, you know that it's fine, and you've silenced it. So those are your options with job alerts. It's kind of it's an alternative to us popping up a message all the time that you would eventually ignore, telling you that there's some problem. So the alerts are always there. You can silence them, you can fix them, and they'll go away. But that's how we're addressing things that need your attention in version 16. Thanks very much.